where best friends and next-door neighbors, Willow and Lillian, spill the tea on murder, mysteries, and other things that go bump in the night. So get your favorite teacup ready, and let's get into it. Welcome to Cruelty Podcast. This is Lillian, and with me is Maris.
Hello.
But it's not Maris Monday.
Why not?
Because it is Friday's episode.
I got the time wrong again.
Yeah, you did. So, what are you going to do about it?
Sit here.
That's right.
Okay, what are we doing?
Okay, so you don't know this month's theme, but I'll tell you.
What is it?
I hope you're excited.
I'm not.
Oh, well, it's cold cases.
Brr.
So I'll be covering the unsolved murder.
That's more fun.
No, it's not.
Oh.
The unsolved murder of Julie Ferguson on March 20th, 1995 in Maryland. Julie was 17 years old.
Oh.
Well, yeah, this is not fun. Remember, you're on the true crime portion now, not the weird, silly stuff.
I gotta go back to Maris Mondays. This is no good.
Are you lost?
I am lost.
You do not know where you are?
No, it's Friday. I'm not supposed to be here.
You have to go back in your hole.
I'm gonna.
Your Maris hole.
All right, tell me about this murder.
All right, so Julie lived with her mother in Greenbelt, Maryland in an apartment. Julie's father had passed away when she was only a year old, and she was an only child. As a single mother, Julie's mom worked very hard to provide for her and her daughter, and as a result had to frequently leave Julie alone to work. And so basically Julie was a latchkey kid. So let's explain that to people who don't know what the fuck that is, Maris.
No, okay.
So back in the 80s and 90s, kids could just come and go as they pleased.
It's true, I was there.
You were thrown out of the house in the summer.
You come home when it's dark.
And you come home when the streetlights come on.
And if you don't come home, make sure you call from a payphone.
Yes, but you better have a good reason for being there or just be dead instead. Your parents will kill you.
No, my parents were like, "Oh, I'm glad you're alive. Continue having fun."
Oh, no, mine were mean. But, so a latchkey kid was a kid who, after they would get home from school, they'd have to let themselves into the house with a key. They usually wore it around, their neck or something, so they could get in the house, and then they just probably, ate leftovers and went to bed without their parents being home because their parents were at work.
Right.
Nowadays, you can go to jail for doing that.
Oh, I have no idea.
I mean, I was left home alone at, age 6.
Right.
And I was babysitting at 10.
Yes. That's how
newborns.
Yeah.
That shit's fucked. I don't know. Anyway, but that's the case with Julie. And she's 17 at this time. It's not a big deal if she's left home alone. It's just not. Mm-hmm. Her mother did prefer that, a relative pick up Julie from school or take her to and from work if she wasn't home. But sometimes her friends did it because Julie didn't have a car.
Right.
Julie went to Eleanor Roosevelt High School, and she was fairly popular and a decent student. This case is frustrating, okay? Because I probably listened to 5 different podcasts and read a bunch of different things on this case. And you'll hear people saying, Julie was a really good student. This isn't true. And I'm not shitting on her.
I was a bad student. No one ever talks about the bad students, but here we are.
Oh, no, we talk about them plenty. But she was an okay student. She got B's. B's and C's. She was an okay student.
Not everyone needs to get A's, y'all.
She was a part of... Okay, y'all, this is also hard to explain. I do not know how high school is now, okay? I don't want to. It's the school shootings, and people are weird, and Gen Z freaks me out. Just in general.
Those weird kids.
Them weird kids with their toilets.
With their skibbity toilets and their YouTubes.
Well, the YouTube's fine. But it's on God and no cap. I don't know what any of this means. Leave me alone. I'm old.
We had our own words as kids.
Bitchin'. Rad. And dude.
There are others.
Were there?
I think so.
I mean,
I can't think of any, but there were.
Cool and dude and bitchin' and rad. Those were all really big back in the day.
I know we had weird words. We're just stupid and can't think of them.
We just didn't have that weird words. Sorry, it was a simpler time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she was a part of a group of kids known as the preps. which were my sworn enemies in high school, by the way.
Okay, so she was preppy, yeah.
Yeah, and preppy is, you guys, when I say prep, you're gonna think of something else, because the preppy style of today is not the preppy style it was back when I was growing up.
It was just mainstream stuff.
It was mainstream, and it was very neat, and like not a lot.
The Gap, you know.
It was very much like, this is before the Gap was really a thing, but it was just very like what everybody else was wearing, what the cool rich kids wore.
Right.
Yeah. And that was her friend group. Now, she was a type of person, though, that had a lot of different types of friends. Like, she'd be hanging out with skaters. She'd hang out with, like, the occasional person of color.
She sounds just pretty average.
She was an average kid all around. She was a good person. And what I mean by that is she wasn't, like, a criminal, but she wasn't, like, a goody two-shoes. She just liked to smoke weed. Everyone in the 90s liked to smoke weed just like they do now.
Right, we did drugs back then, and we still do too, yeah?
Yes, to this day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she also had a part-time job at a strip mall in the linens and things store. Do you remember that store? Because I do.
Yes, I remember.
It was just like, they had a lot of towels and sheets and, like, little bathroom things.
It's a Bed Bath & Beyond thing, yeah.
It was, but now Bed Bath & Beyond's gone, too.
Oh, my God, I'm just getting older.
It does happen. It does happen.
Yeah.
And so she worked there, and it was only a half a mile from her house and only 800 yards from her school. Like, it was in between school and her house.
All right.
The day of her murder, 2 or 3 of her friends drove her to work after school, and she got off work when the store closed at around 9. However, like, she had closing duties, so usually
you don't come home until like 10:30.
She got out either between 9:30 to 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And so on this night, she got out at around 9:30. Mm-hmm. Now, this was a school night, and Julie didn't usually work on school nights, but she had planned to skip school the following day. So she arranged for her friends to pick her up after work, and she was going to go hang out with them since she wouldn't be going to school the next day.
Yeah, fuck school.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Also, according to friends, she had 2 blunts in her purse, and that sounds great.
Hell yeah, in for a good time.
Yes. After work, her manager walked her over to a liquor store to get a soda.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, she was not getting alcohol. I don't even think she went into the liquor store, but her manager went in for her and bought her a Coca-Cola.
Right. Nothing suspicious.
No, she was carrying a shopping bag full of clothes and her purse. Mm-hmm. She sat on a decorative brick planter outside the liquor store, and she just was enjoying her drink and waiting for her friends to pick her up.
Weed, drinking Coke. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Now, I've heard a lot of people say, like, whoa, it was scary for her to be hanging out in front of the liquor store. Listen to me. No, it wasn't. Strip malls in the 90s were safe places. Mm-hmm. They were places where, like, your yuppie fucking parents shopped.
Where else can you go? Like,
what do you mean it wasn't a safe place? It was
Should she go a few blocks down where the liquor store isn't? It doesn't matter.
No, and I've always found this such a weird take. Like, she was endangering herself because she was 17 and a dumbass. She didn't know. No.
Like, you can't stand outside a pawn shop. You might get murdered. Like, oh, it's just so
This
dumb.
is not the hood. This is the suburbs. This is, like, a really nice little strip mall.
It's just part of the background.
Yeah, and it was one of those nice liquor stores. It's not like liquor store / pawn shop / gun shop.
Right.
You know, it's not like that. It's fucking Maryland. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
In fact, there were kids in the parking lot, like her age, rollerblading.
Yeah, it just sounds like Berryville. I don't know.
No, Berryville's way scarier. There's a lot more
so?
meth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was waiting on her friends now, because now a lot of people want to bitch at her friends for being late because they didn't get there until a little after 10. But they had picked her up from work many, many times before.
Yeah.
And usually they would be stuck waiting in their car because they'd come at 9 and they're just sitting there for like 30 minutes to an hour.
I've had friends do that, yeah.
So they decided to just show up at 10.
Yeah.
Now the manager left her alone around 9:45 as she waited on her friends.
Yeah.
Her friends didn't show until just after 10 p.m. At around 9:50, Julie is spotted talking to occupants in a red car, likely a red or burgundy, whatever, likely a Volkswagen Jetta. I had a friend with one of those back then. Mm-hmm. When her friends arrive about 10 to 15 minutes later, Julie has vanished.
Yeah.
And she left behind the soda she bought, and her friends reported that it still had condensation on it.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people go real far in
Yeah.
cold cases, and they like got the temperature. It's March in Maryland. It's still pretty cold. It was probably about 40 degrees outside at this time.
She vanished real fast, is what I'm gathering.
Yes, because like condensation can't be kept on the outside of a can above like 30 or something, 35 or something like that. I don't know. It's math to say they had literally just missed her by minutes.
Yeah, from all the things you just said, that was the part I understood, is that she got snatched or whatever happened to her really fast.
Yes. In addition, she left behind her purse and the shopping bag filled with clothes, two things a teenage girl's not going to do. The blunts were missing from her purse. And so this is a huge, like, sticking point on a lot of these podcasts. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened to them blunts, okay?
They got smoked?
They got smoked at work with her manager.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I agree with you.
I can't tell you how many of my
She
managers...
probably got one, and she gave the other one to the manager.
who they were clearly friendly. They walked her to go get her a Coke after
Right.
work.
I'm agreeing with you.
I don't think
Especially
it's a
since
mystery.
Knowing from working at malls, you stand outside the back of your store, and that's what you do.
You smoke blunts.
Yes, outside, just right by the dumpsters.
That's right.
That's what you do.
And I can't tell you how many times I've done that. And so to me, this is not a clue. This is nothing ominous.
No.
She brought those blunts to work to share with her manager. Of course, the manager didn't tell the police, we smoked blunts.
I was about to say that, but I was too stoned and forgot. I was like, the manager
blunts, that's
just
why.
is gonna say nothing. It's like,
No.
I don't know what. Like, I don't even know that she even had those. That's what the manager would
That's,
say.
I think, exactly what they said.
Uh-huh.
When the answer is, oh no, I hope they don't know how high I
It
am
was
right
in
now.
me. It was me. I know who it was. It was me.
Yeah, I mean, I hate when people try to make a mystery out of something. When
No,
Occupant's
there's
razor,
no mystery.
There's no mystery.
No mystery.
It wasn't like Julie, though, to be not be where she said she'd be, so her friends immediately called her mother, who had not heard from her since around 9:15, just before Julie got off work. Police were called immediately, and unlike a lot of cases, they actually took it seriously and a search was underway.
Huh. That's really strange. We need to think.
Well, usually they're like, she ran away, get over it. You
Right.
know, like,
Well, she has to be gone 24, like 72 hours. That's what they would
24 hours is the typical turnaround. They don't
that's
do that for
bullshit.
children or minors anymore
Right.
because that got kids killed, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah. Several witnesses reported the red Jetta and having seen a girl matching Julie's description talking to the occupants. Some people said it was like some people of color, some black people. Some people said it was a Hispanic male and a white guy. Who knows? At around midnight, a woman driving her son to work saw a red Jetta near a dirt road that was just idling there. And it was kind of near an on-ramp to an interstate, near a place called Daisy Lane. And when she came back, the car was gone, and it looked like the occupants had dumped trash on the side of the road. Now, I want to talk about this place a little bit,
Okay.
because the narrative around this case is that this is such a nice, small little suburb, and it doesn't happen here. But then you look at the location of Greenbelt, Maryland, next to an interstate.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you're next to an interstate like that, like the way it's just literally right up against it,
Yeah.
you're going to see murders, especially serial murders.
Well, I'm stupid. Why is that?
It allows people to go from place to place really easily and quickly.
So
it
you
brings
just dump all
strangers
your
into
bodies
town.
off the interstate?
Not necessarily. It's just like killers move along interstates. You'll find this to be
Oh.
true almost in all of the cases.
Well, I mean, I guess it makes sense to go to point A and point B fast. I don't know.
It kind of started in California in the 60s and 70s where kids were hitchhiking all the time.
Yeah.
And so you'd see a lot of murders along the interstate. The Texas killing fields are all along an interstate. It's just easy.
Well, I guess interstates are cursed. I don't know what other conclusion to come to.
Well, it's real easy to get in and out of town fast. So you go
Right.
on the off-ramp,
Yeah.
you murder your victim, you dump the body, then you're back on the on-ramp, and you can do that within like an hour and a half.
I didn't know that streets that why are you making roads dark? You know?
What are you talking about?
You're making roads scary. They're just roads.
Oh, well, because interstates are kind of a hallmark of serial killers. They just are.
I didn't want to know that.
Well, you're not by one, so you're
Oh,
okay.
Well, yeah, that's true. Cool. Yeah.
We live in the middle of nowhere.
But now all the streets are scary.
So police began a search of the surrounding areas at around 4 to 5 a.m. Julie's body is discovered the next morning around 7 a.m., about 5 miles away from the strip mall on Daisy Lane by two men walking to work. So it wasn't trash the woman saw on the side of the road.
That would haunt me forever and ever and ever.
I think it did.
Ugh.
Now, I do want to talk about this, though. And I'm not shitting on this woman, except kind of am.
Okay.
I don't pay attention to cars idling anywhere. I don't.
Oh, me neither.
I've
I've probably seen 200 million murders, and I would never have known.
No. I mean, I see people like, oh my God, when we lived in Tulsa,
Oh.
So the street that led right into my fucking driveway was like, had a stop sign, and people would sit at that for 20 to 30 minutes late at night.
It was like a T-shaped intersection, and they would just sit at the T forever.
There are high beams right in my bedroom window.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm. We called the police on them several times.
Yeah.
Who knows what that was about? But I just can't believe she noticed.
I wouldn't be. I would hate it. I wish I wouldn't notice if I was her.
I'd be like, I'm never noticing
Never
shit
looking
again.
at anything again.
And these poor men walking to work.
Yeah.
They thought it was a dead animal.
Ugh,
And then they'd come across her. She was fully clothed, missing only a shoe, which was found near her body. Her hands were bound behind her back, and she had been strangled. In addition, her throat had also been slit, but there was very little blood, indicating she was probably already dead when this was done. She had abrasions on her nose and thighs from being dragged post-mortem. Julie had defensive wounds on her arms and legs. She had both cash and jewelry on her person, so the motive was not robbery. Her ID was later found on a grassy median not far from her body and the strip mall. She had not been sexually assaulted, which I find rare.
Yeah, what the hell? Why? We don't know.
Well, of course not. That's the problem with this case. This is why it's a cold case.
Mm-hmm.
Is because there's a clear lack of motive.
Mm-hmm.
And because Julie was 17 years old, didn't really have enemies. I mean, maybe she had some kids at school.
It must be like a random murder thing.
Well, we're going to talk about like theories towards the end because I do
Okay.
have a few.
Okay.
Before her death, Julie was hanging around what some friends called a rougher crowd. But remember, she's friends with the preps, and they're kind of a stick in the mud, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They're the, like, goody two-shoes. She was also getting prank calls on her private landline. There was no phone, cell phones back then.
Yeah.
I mean, there were, but they were the size of a loaf of bread. They cost $1,300.
We didn't have them then.
No. But she had her own landline, and it was a private line, which means it was not listed in the phone book.
Okay.
Meaning, in order to have that number, you would either have to get lucky, or she gave it to you.
Right.
So that she was getting prank calls was a little concerning because the caller was Arabic
Okay.
and said one word only when he would call,
Uh-huh.
and that was Habibi.
What does it mean?
Habibi is an Arabic term of endearment, which means beloved or sweetheart.
There was a creep after her. Is that what this is?
Maybe.
Like a creepy dude who was just like you wouldn't have known, but maybe he like saw her at work or
He was
something.
stalking her, somehow
Yeah.
got her phone number. I mean, it's possible.
Okay.
And we'll talk a little more about possible things. She did, like, a couple weeks before her death, get into a fight with another kid, like, at a bowling alley, but it just seems like general high school, my school bullshit.
Yeah, who cares, yeah.
Police did question a man who Julie had rejected romantically.
Mm-hmm.
This is an unnamed suspect, but it's clear he was an adult, like in his 20s.
She was 17, yeah.
Yes, and it was likely somebody who worked around the strip mall,
Uh-huh.
and she was just like, as if,
Yeah.
and
Could it be the same collar person?
it was not Arabic, the
Okay.
white man.
Okay.
He was later convicted of another homicide, but police never had evidence linking him to Julie's murder. I suspect him the most.
Okay, yeah, well,
He had motive.
Yeah.
And then he went on later to kill somebody.
Right. Okay, yeah,
obviously.
definitely very suspicious.
Suspicious. Doug De Silva was another suspect in this case, and he had sexually assaulted a woman near the area Julie's body was found. Though DNA would clear him, meaning his DNA was not on her body anywhere, police still suspect he might have been involved, and he lacked an alibi and was a violent offender. But when I tell y'all, like, somebody lacks an alibi, I frequently would lack an alibi. Like, I was just sitting in my room and nobody saw me because I didn't fucking go anywhere.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean anything.
No, and while...
Because if you're by yourself, then what can you do? I mean, were somewhere else, but no one can vouch for you.
And while previous offenders clearly, they have a predilection, she was not sexually assaulted.
Yeah. I mean, the first murder guy, did he assault his victim?
No, just killed them. And there is no name associated with this, probably because this is an ongoing investigation. All cold cases are ongoing investigations. That means the police will not reveal everything to the public, even if you ask.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know. I don't think
we
that
may not
he
have
did.
all the info, yeah.
Well, we don't. And that's what's frustrating about cold cases. I think the prank calls were just that. I think they were prank calls.
Yeah, it could have been someone from their school even. Because she would have had to give out her number.
Well, but you also remember, I did this as a kid, and I don't know why. I would dial random numbers all the time.
And maybe they weren't Arabic. They just thought it was a funny word or something. So
That's possible.
It could have been a kid.
It could have been a kid. I mean, it could have been an Arabic kid. We don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's just kind of a coincidence / fluke. It also only happened a few times and hadn't happened in a while.
I'm going to say it was a kid.
The rough crowd thing, I really looked into this. No, she wasn't. She was hanging out with kids who smoked weed.
Yeah, she might have hung out with some goths or something.
She hung out with some stoners is what she did. Some kids.
They're not going to murder you.
They listened to Nirvana and didn't wash their hair enough and smoked a lot of weed.
Right.
Same though. It's
yeah,
fine.
Right? Yeah.
I don't think that had anything to do with it.
I want to suspect the guy who's into murder.
And wanted to date her, and she turned him down.
Yeah, I'm going to suspect that guy.
Now,
we solved it. We did it.
At her funeral, that she had a white coffin, and friends were encouraged to write on it. And then one just said, "Your boyfriend." Now, at the time of her death, Julie didn't have a boyfriend.
It just could have been some dumbass kid, though.
Yeah, because... And I'm just throwing out other theories people have postulated, but here's what I think that was from. About a week before her death, she had invited a boy to her house to watch The Lion King with her. I think that's who it was. I think he thought he was her boyfriend.
Sometimes kids will call each other boyfriend and girlfriend just playing.
Yes, I actually had a fake boyfriend in high school.
That's probably what it was.
Me and my friend Giovanni Sanchez always said we never dated.
No, it just could have been like a private,
It was a joke.
Kind of a joke, but now it's sort of sentimental.
Yes, I think so. And we also made out all the time.
Well, that's
okay, maybe that was maybe a bit of a boyfriend-girlfriend situation. Neither one of us acknowledged it anyway. Moving on. Right. Yeah, but it was just a bit of fun, and people forget kids do dumb shit like this all the time.
Yeah.
I think it's another case of a mountain out of a molehill, So Julie's mother, Pam, just really wants to know who killed her daughter before she dies, and I don't blame her for wanting to know that.
Yeah.
And so she has made an appeal to the public, and she usually does around the anniversary of her death, that if anybody has any information or think they saw anything at all, to please come forward. Right. Now, it's important to note, at the scene. So she was found, on the side of the road in front of an empty lot that had a barbed wire fence around it. The barbed wire fence had been kind of pushed in a little bit, as if a car had hit it. And it had red or burgundy paint flecks on the barbed wire. I guarantee you it's that fucking Jetta. Whoever took her drove that car.
They were probably driving all crazy because he just murdered a person.
Yeah. I do think that, I mean, I don't know. My thought is she knew the person, and I'll tell you why.
Well, that murder guy was from the mall.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, so she goes up to this car, and she is seen leaning into the driver's side window talking.
Right.
That's very casual. If I would not talk that way to somebody if I didn't know them.
Yes.
She knew this person and knew them well enough that she didn't feel in any sort of danger whatsoever.
I guarantee it was probably the dude from the mall. He probably called her over and asked her to look at something in the car so he could snatch her.
Or he's like, "Hey, I got a blunt," or "Hey, I have something for you,"
yes.
or whatever. And he could have pulled her in through the driver's side window. And that's why her shit was still there.
Yes.
I don't think she got into the car willingly, is what I'm saying.
No, because there were marks on her arms that said that she was struggling or something.
She was struggling. Yeah. But the defensive wounds weren't on her face, neck, or hands, where you usually expect to see defensive wounds. I mean, they were wrestling with her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think she was subdued in that parking lot. And I think it was premeditated.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, the only other option I see as a possibility in this case is it is beside an interstate. They're off-ramp, right in front of this strip mall. It could have been a serial killer. It could have.
Yeah,
Or,
like a random-
or at least a crime of opportunity type of thing. A thrill kill is what they're also called.
Yeah.
That's where it goes without sexual assault. They just do it for the thrill of fucking murdering somebody, which I think is bonkers
Gross.
bananas, but okay. And so that's my theory.
Yeah.
I don't think the rapist, Doug Da Silva, had anything to do with it. However, maybe. And listen, because now that we've put that forth, I want you to hear what happened to Doug Da Silva after he got out of prison for raping a woman.
Okay.
He fucking vanished to the point his own family has no idea where he is. Maris is dying, so
I
he's
just had
back
a
now.
phlegm.
Okay. No one's ever seen him again. And it's been years.
Yeah.
So he either disappeared like into the homeless population and is dealing with drug addiction and is dead himself, or he disappeared because he had something to do with it. And now that he's out of jail, police are after him again.
Well, I have no idea.
No. So there's a $25,000 reward for any information leading to an arrest in Julie Ferguson's case. So if you're listening to this and you were like, hey, I did see something weird and I live there, you call someone.
Mm-hmm.
Don't
Not
sit
me,
on
though.
it.
Don't call me out.
Don't tell me.
Don't want to know.
I don't want to know. I don't want that responsibility.
Uh-uh.
I have never seen or heard anything.
Nope.
Well, I mean, I can't do anything about it. So
Yeah.
calling me is stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what's not stupid?
What is it?
Business time.
Oh.
Okay, so we have a Patreon. It's really rad. I just covered the Taylor Shabusiness case. You heard
Yeah.
me right. Shabusiness.
Yep.
God, I hate that. I hate it. I hate that the name is in my brain forever. That case had it all. It had necrophilia,
I didn't like it.
meth,
Ugh.
and just general depravity. So if you want to listen to that, that's on our Patreon right now. Next, I'm going to be covering DB Cooper because there's been some like updates to this famous case of the guy who robbed a bank and then jumped out of a plane. So there you go.
Awesome.
And this was in the 50s. I always thought it was kind of a cool case. It's always been kind of famous on Unsolved Mysteries and other TV shows like that. And so I'll be covering that pretty soon. What else do I have? We just do a lot of stuff, and you can check out our link tree for all of that. If you want to help us out, my car and water pipe burst the
Exploded,
same
yeah.
day.
Mm-hmm. It was a good day.
The car cost me over
It
$600.
was awesome.
Actually, I think at the end it cost me $800.
Yeah.
So if you want to help us out, well, that'd be so cool. Join our Discord. It's cool there too. You can talk to me about cases. In fact, I'd like you guys to, if you have cold cases you would like me to cover, please go onto the Discord and say that there. I would appreciate it. It'd be cool. Because I want to do things you guys like. Other than that, I don't really have any more shabusiness to get to. Can you imagine changing your last name to Shabusiness and that it was allowed?
I would say like I'm from Eastern Europe or something.
I just wouldn't do it because it's dumb.
Yeah.
You're trying to think of a whole plot of like how do
My
I do
backstory,
this?
yeah.
Yeah, and so and in case anybody's wondering, because I've had a few people ask about it. No, Maris Monday's never going to be serious. We just did we do serious things every once in a while.
I hate it.
Where we did the Zizian cult. Yeah, we're gonna be doing silly shit again. Aliens probably.
I need more aliens in my life.
Ancient astronaut theorists say
Yeah.
yes because they always say yes and they
Right.
never say no because they're
No.
sluts.
Yes, they are.
Anyway, if all you can do to listen to the podcast, though, wait. If all you can do to support the podcast is listen, that's rad, and I love you. But if you're listening on YouTube, like, subscribe, and make a Dingleberry comment. I don't care what you say.
Yeah.
I just get, like, I know I should respond to them. I'm just real bad about doing it. Know that I see them. And if they're negative comments, they make me sexually excited. So just know that. If you're being mean to me, now I'm excited. Ooh. Yeah, my nipples could cut glass. Now you're uncomfortable. Wait. Don't make that noise. Okay, Maris, say bye.
Bye.
Us on your social media platform of choice. Linktree/cruelty has all of the links. Check out our Patreon for exclusive episodes, merch, ad-free episodes, live ghost hunts, and much more. Please be sure to subscribe. New episodes are uploaded weekly. Thank you so much. See you next time. music and production by Libby.